Okay, I was saying this just as the time ran out on the last video. So here, notice that we have two brackets holding this corner together. We always want to make strong joints. If your joints are not strong, they'll fail in a competition. And if your robot's falling apart out there in a competition, that's not a good thing. So having multiple ways of fastening your corners together is good, not just to rely on one bracket. Also, with just one bracket on this one, if you just had this bracket on the top, it could really pivot on this bottom edge pretty easily, and it would just make a weak joint. Same with this bracket. If you had just this one bracket on the top, it could pivot pretty easily and just bend this little bracket here on the top, and this bottom piece could come apart. So it's not good just to have one type of bracket on there, or just one bracket on there in total. So what I want you to do on these other three corners is this corner is good. It has two brackets on it. But I want you to look at the other corners, and you decide what you want to add to the other corners for another bracket. So for example, on this corner, you could add a corner plate into there. You got a flat plate on the top. You could add another corner plate here. Well, actually, you could not add a corner plate on the inside, but you could add a corner plate like this one here on the outside. But I want you to add another bracket to these three corners. So there's a total of two on each one of those corners. So good luck. See what you can get done with that. And that is your next step. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and put on some motors and some motor mounts. So let's look and see how that's going to work. So first thing we're going to do is going to go over in our list in our Actobotics folder. So I'm going to go to my CAD 1 and 2, Actobotics, and go to here. The first thing I'm going to need is a motor mount. So I'm going to click on a motor mount, and I'm going to pull that motor mount out. So there is my motor mount. All right. It sits in there a little bit of a weird angle, and that's okay. We're just going to go okay, and just leave it right there. All right. For the motor mount, these holes line up with the holes that are on our frame. We're going to connect one of these holes. The first motor mount, we're going to put right back here towards the back end. Not all the way back, but towards the back end. About here. And not about there, but there. That one hole that's right next to that beam, closest to it, to the inside of the frame. So we're going to go joint. Rotate this down. Again, making sure you get on that top surface, the center point of that top surface right there. And then rotate it around and go to right there. Notice how it's kind of spun that around and put it in there straight. That's just the way we want that to set. If it didn't set it in there straight, we do need to rotate that there to where it is straight. So I'm going to leave that there. If for some reason yours went the wrong way and it looks like this, what you do is you hit that flip button. We've done that before, but just a little reminder on that. Hit that flip, and it flips around there the correct way. We're going to go ahead and go OK. We want that to be a rigid joint. All right, beautiful. There's a motor mount. Next, we're going to pull in a motor. So we're going to come up here, going to go over to our list, go to a motor. We're going to pull in a never rest motor. Pull that over. And there's our motor. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and place it in like that. I'm going to worry about rotating it. And I'm going to go ahead and put a joint on that. All right, so my joint, I'm going to go joint. And I'm going to go to the center of this circle right there. Notice that center point showing up. And I'm going to go to the center of that circle. Again, I placed it in there correctly for me, but if it doesn't, you can always flip it. Now with this, it actually sits in there too far, and we're not going to be able to get a wheel on this. So we need to pull it out a little bit. And when I say little, I'm going to go to make that go out an inch. For me, that needs to be -1. Yours may be positive, maybe negative. It just depends on how your joints work there. But I want that sticking out 1 inch from this surface. And we're going to go OK. All right, looking good. Next, we need a wheel to go onto that motor mount. So we're going to go wheel. Oops, I went back too far. I'm going to come down my list to wheels. And we're going to go and pull in a 595 410 assembly. That's the wheel assembly. Pull that in there. I am going to go ahead and rotate this around just so you can kind of see it first. Rotate that to there. And we're just going to go okay. Now, let's look at this wheel. Let's pull it up here and see how it's going to fit. So when you look at that wheel, notice that that hole is larger than the actual axle. So that wheel's not going to go on there real well. So we can't just put the wheel on just like that. We need something that goes in between. So to do that, we're going to go back over here to the Actobotics folder. We're going to go down to, let's see, hubs is where it is, hubs. Under hubs, we're going to pull in a 545 698 hub. So pull in that hub to there. Once that hub's in, we're going to put that hub into place. And again, I'm just going to place that hub just there like so. And we're going to put a joint on there. All right. So for this hub, we're going to go assemble. Or not assemble. We're going to go joint. We're going to make the joint to this surface here, to this circle. Because this flat surface is what's going to set against the hub. So this flat surface right here, not out here, but right there, that flat surface is the center point of it. And we want it to stick up here in the wheel. And I'm going to go ahead and just stick it on this side just because that's easy to see. And stick the hub right there. Now notice, again, it's setting inside of there, so we want to flip it. And there is how my hub should set there. And we're going to go okay. All right, so there's my wheel, looking good. Not in place very good, but it's looking good there. Now I want that whole wheel, hub and wheel both, to go onto the robot. So again, we're going to do another joint. That joint, we're going to come out here to this circle of, this is actually on the hub if you don't notice where I'm at. That circle of the outside surface of the hub, click there. Zoom out a little bit and twist it around. And we're going to put it right out here. Again, that comes over just it. It looks like it pulled it apart. It actually didn't, but it's setting out there the wrong way. So we are going to flip that there. And when we go okay, our wheel should move over if we did this correctly. So I'm going to go okay. And there you go. There my wheel jumped over. All right. So that's looking pretty good. The only little bit of an issue that I have is, notice with the way we offset this. Notice how far my wheel's set out there. That's a huge gap there. We really don't want that giant of a gap there. So we need to modify something. We could slide this in a little bit here. And we could change that joint a little bit. And that honestly would be okay. So let me go inspect here. So there, it's 0.236 inches. So we can go ahead and move that in, that 0.236. So let's do that. We got to find that right joint. If I hover over my joints down here, that was my last joint I just made. It's that one right there. So I'm going to double click on it, see it highlighting as I hover over it. I'm going to double click on that joint. And that joint, I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it in this direction. And that was a minus 0.236 inches. And we're going to go okay. And let's flip this around. All right. Oh, for some reason, I went too much. My measurement of 0.236 must not have been the measurement. Must not have been correct. So I can try to measure this again here and see what I got. 0.16. I wonder, oh, it's measuring that at an angle. There we go. Let's try to get that a little bit better. Let's go from there to the surface. There we go. 0.054. We're not going to try to get that perfect. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take off about a 0.06 or maybe a 0.1 inch. It doesn't have to be that tight. So 0.09 it said, so 0.236 minus 0.09. Gosh, I'm trying to do head math. 0.176. Did I do good head math? Let's see what I did. Ooh, look at that. Tiny bit of a gap there. That really looks pretty good. Basically, we just don't want to break the law of physics and overlap that. All right. But still, however, notice there's still an awful big gap here. We could try to measure that again. Let's see. We went from this circle to this surface, 0.572 inches. Okay? So that's still quite a ways there. What I want to do now is I want to move it in more. I can't move it anymore here. So I'm going to have to adjust where this motor set in the motor mount. Remember, we set this out 1 inch. So to adjust that, we're going to come down on our list here and find that joint. Oh, notice right there when I'm highlighting that joint right up here is highlighting. Oops, not that one. I got on the wrong one. That one. That joint is highlighting. I'm pretty sure that's our joint. So double click on it. And notice I have the -1 offset. Let's try minus 0.5. So we're going to set that to 0.5. We're going to go OK. And let's see what we got there. Oh, we got that motor, or that wheel set nice and tight in there. That's really probably what we want. And there's a bunch of people coming in the room, so I'm going to pause the video. All right, so you got this motor in place and this wheel in place. So this one side of the drive is finished. It's looking really pretty nice. What I want you to do now is go ahead and add the exact same thing, mirror image of it over here on this other side. Now, you could try to go up there and use some fancy skills and try to do some stuff of using a mirror command and mirror all this. That really isn't the way that you're going to put together assembly. You don't mirror the assembly to the other side. You actually have to. That's not good procedure. It's not good. It's not a good way to do it. It's just not the acceptable way of doing that. So you do need to go over here, and also at this point you need to practice. So 2 good reasons not to do it that way. Come over here. Again, start by placing your motor mount. Remember, you place it right here in this hole where you're going to place your motor mount. You're going to place your motor into place. Remember, we ended up not making this 1 inch sticking out, so you don't have to start with that. We ended up making it stick out 1/2 of an inch. So make this stick out 1/2 of an inch, and that's going to be good there. And then remember, your wheel, you want that offset, and you want that in, so it's not a big gap. And let you do some measuring and figure out how to get that into place there. So good luck with that, and we'll try to finish this video now. So this video is done.